U.S. inflation eased again in April, but was still stubbornly high. The Consumer Price Index was up 4.9% from a year earlier, the smallest annual increase in 2 years. That's slightly lower than the 5% reading in March and well below a peak of more than 9% last June. The core rate of inflation, excluding volatile food and fuel costs, was up 5.5% from a year ago. Officials along the southern border are bracing tonight for the end of Title 42 tomorrow. The pandemic-era policy barred most asylum seekers. Now the Biden administration says most migrants must first apply online or seek asylum in a country they passed through. The Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, also says 100 migration hubs are opening across the hemisphere.
These are places where we feel a humanitarian as well as a security imperative to meet people where they are, to cut the smugglers out, and to provide them with a safe and orderly way to arrive in the United States if they qualify for relief.
Under the new policy, those who enter the U.S. illegally must wait 5 years before returning or face criminal prosecution. Israel traded heavy fire with Palestinian militants in Gaza for a second day, despite Egypt's attempt to mediate a ceasefire. Palestinian fighters launched hundreds of rockets at Israel. Some flew as far as Tel Aviv, but mid-air explosions indicated most were intercepted. That came as Israeli airstrikes hit Islamic Jihad targets. Palestinian officials said at least 21 people in Gaza have been killed. In Pakistan, the government has called in troops to bring an end to violent unrest. On Tuesday, supporters of former Prime Minister Imran Khan stormed official buildings after his arrest on corruption charges. At least 6 people were killed. Today, local TV showed a radio station burning in Peshawar. Police said protesters torched it while employees were trapped inside. Officials blamed the violence on Khan, a former cricket star.
As a sportsman, he ought to be championing sportsman spirit, tolerance, and respecting rule of law. But instead, he has chosen a path of spreading anarchy, chaos, and destruction in the country.
A judge ruled today that Khan can be held for another 8 days for further questioning. Back in this country, a Texas judge sentenced Army Sergeant Daniel Perry to 25 years in prison for fatally shooting an armed man during a Black Lives Matter protest. It happened in Austin back in 2020. Republican Governor Greg Abbott has already said he wants to pardon Perry. Senator Dianne Feinstein has returned to Washington after more than 2 months on medical leave. At 89, the California Democrat is the oldest member of Congress. She arrived at the Capitol today in a wheelchair. In a statement, the senator said she's suffering after effects of shingles and will work a lighter schedule. Some progressives had urged Feinstein to resign, saying her absence blocked confirmation of federal judges. On Wall Street, blue chips lagged a bit, but other stocks moved higher on inflation news. The Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 30 points to close at 33,531, but the Nasdaq rose 127 points, or 1%. The S&P 500 added 18 points. And the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show has crowned its Best in Show for 2023. A Petit Basset Griffon Vendian named Buddy Holly took home the title last night. It was a first for the rabbit hunting